I don't really know what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going off script, I'm thinking about different things. I'm branching into new territory. Just like artists. Artists love to branch into new territory all the time. For instance, Quadeca used to be a YouTube rapper, and now he's making all this kind of like melodramatic, kind of emo, whatever you call it. You can't even define his music by a genre anymore. If you go on Rate Your Music, his album can't even be described in like 5 things or less. It's like 20 different titles for his album. I love it when artists change their sound, like when Lil Yachty went into like kind of a psychedelic rock era with his album Let's Start Here. He didn't really keep going with that much because his new singles that he's dropped are back to being rap. But it is very interesting when artists change their sound or evolve it heavily. Take for example when people don't do that and they just keep their music the same throughout their entire career. I do like Clipping. Clipping has really not changed their style of music. It's still noisy, it's still rap. Their newest albums are a little bit more on the scary side, but that's about it. But when artists do change their style of music, it's very interesting. You never know what you're gonna get. Death Grips does a lot of musical evolution. Daughters does a lot of musical evolution. You gotta love stuff like that. It's genre bending, it's genre defining. Stuff like The Money Store, that defined genres like entirely. One could look at The Money Store when it was released in 2012. It's like, where could they possibly go from here? And Death Grips had so many avenues of like musical evolution. So what are we talking about in today's video? We're talking about when artists shift their music. Or when artists do something different, when they break the norm, when they go out of the median line and they do whatever they want to do. And people are getting a lot of flack. Artists are getting a lot of flack for doing stuff like this. For example, Igor, the album by Tyler, the Creator. Tyler, the Creator was mad because the album was labeled as a rap album. And that's simply not what it was. He was mad because he thought that he was getting labeled.
It sucks that whenever we, and I mean guys that look like me, do anything that's genre bending or that's anything, they always put it in a rap or urban category.
But I am picturing a world in my head where music is not defined by labels at all. Music is defined by vibrations, because at the end of the day, that's exactly what it is. It's just like noise. When I hear music that doesn't sound like anything I could like put a pin on, like when I first heard Hypochondriac by Breakins or when I first heard The Money Store, I like those albums a lot, mainly because I wasn't expecting like anything going into it. I didn't know what I was going to be listening to, and it was just surprising. If I go into an album and I know, okay, this is that new Ed Sheeran album, I know exactly what I'm in for. I might like the album, but I'm not gonna find it too interesting because it's just more of the same, Good artists, in my opinion, change their style, or they evolve. Bad artists definitely stay in their lane. They don't want to go outside of the median. They don't want to evolve their music. So that's how you can separate, in my opinion, that's how you can separate a good artist from a bad artist. Good artists take the leap. Bad artists just stay. For example, Pitbull. Have you seen Pitbull do anything that's not house music? No, Pitbull's trash. Yeah, okay, yeah, you can agree with me. Let's go into the hotter take territory. Another artist that's trash, Joji. Now, don't get me wrong, I do like a pretty good amount of Joji songs, like 777. I forgot what that other song is called. It's like Slow Dancing in the Dark or whatever. But the most of the tracks that I listen to, it's just the same thing. It's boring. I'm like, you gotta make music for my generation. Okay, that sounds egotistical, but people nowadays, they have that 3-second attention span. You gotta really like shock someone immediately, right then and there. You gotta change up everything. More of the same, that's stagnation, and no one wants stagnation. Plenty of good artists out there don't change their style of music, and that's because they've found pockets of success that people do like to hear. For example, even though Breakins does have a unique style of music, it's very similar to his last 2 albums, even though Hypochondriac is a little bit more on the extreme side of that glitch pop stuff. So at the end of the day, when artists change their music, that's when I get really interested. When artists stay put and they stagnate, it's really just words. It's just noise. You get so used to listening to the exact same thing over and over again that you start to realize that you are in this loop of listening to the exact same thing over and over again. The vibrations cancel out. It's the exact same thing. So branching out your music taste is the only way to actually like have a good music taste and like have a good palate. It's like you're eating only pizza your entire life. Like Lil Yachty, that's a fun fact about him. He eats only pizza. You eat pizza your entire life and you are not shown any other flavors of anything. And then you get exposed to this thing called pasta. You get exposed to this thing called chicken, or it's pepperoni pizza. You get exposed to all these new flavors, and then suddenly this stuff that is someone's normal has become like your favorite thing ever. So when you see people like rate music in like a weird way, it's like, oh, this album's a 10 out of 10, this album's a 10 out of 10, and it's like you're 6, or you think an album's a 10 and it's like someone else's 6. You guys are fundamentally different people in every sense of the word. And that's kind of off topic, but that's another reason why I don't think music should be labeled by genre or by these specific things, like any kind of defining category. Music at the end of the day should just be vibrations at the end of the day. So what can we learn from this video? Don't be pretentious. Don't look at someone's music taste and go, oh yeah, you're listening to Taylor Swift and just Taylor Swift. That's boring. You have a boring music taste, because it's not. It's really not. If you notice that they're like, you know, that type of person, they're just listening to just Taylor Swift, or they're just listening to just Ed Sheeran, or okay, I'm calling out my girlfriend. Switch up your music taste a bit, you know? Yeah, throw in some, okay, you like Ed Sheeran? Throw in some fucking other ginger person, I don't know.